In this episode, I want to help you get crystal clear on how you're uniquely different and better than your toughest competition. This is a critical assignment for every business owner, one that cannot be outsourced to a marketing firm or your sales manager. Let's explore 2 ways to get this done. Ready to nail down a win on stage 14 of this year's Tour de Profit? Let's get into it.
Welcome to Why Business Teams Fail and How to Avoid It, a show helping small business owners build a radically engaged team that can run the business without you so you can remove the stress from owning a business and enjoy the freedom you deserve. Now, here's your host, Rich Allen.
Today you'll learn that if you're going to be successful in business, you must set yourself apart from your best competition. That unless you're prepared to compete solely on the basis of offering a lower price, you've got to define your uniqueness. And once you define your unique positioning in your market, you can and will dominate your toughest competition. Here's my question for you this week. What truly sets you apart from your toughest competition? We're finishing up week 14 of the year, which means we're on stage 14 of this year's Tour de Profit, a 52-stage race to grow your business. Hope you're keeping pace and staying engaged along the way. While I've covered some important topics already this year, there are many more critical topics yet to be covered. And today's topic may be one of the most important for you to get crystal clear on for your business. My question for you this week was, what truly sets you apart from your toughest competition? It's a very important question for you to consider, ponder, and declare for yourself, your team, and especially for your customers. You may have heard this referred to as your unique selling proposition or your USP. No matter what you call it, it's important that you purposely and intentionally answer the fundamental question, how can we separate ourselves in a meaningful way from any other competitor in our industry? There are a few ways to get to this answer. It just depends on which method you prefer. Let me share 2 different approaches with you today in hopes that one of these will hit you in a way that resonates with you on how you think about your business. Let's first start with the model I learned from Keith Cunningham. If you're not familiar with Keith Cunningham, he's a super smart entrepreneur and business guru based in the Austin, Texas area. I met Keith many years ago when attending a conference in Australia, of all places. Keith was one of the presenters, and he made the claim that he could teach us more in 4 days than we could learn in a 2-year MBA program. And since I had just finished my MBA program and I lived in the Dallas area, not too far from his office in Austin, I decided to take him up on his offer. I paid a nice $15,000 fee to attend his 4-day workshop and decided to see what I could learn. And let me quickly say, the 4 days was well worth the investment. Keith was truly a genius in the area of business and particularly business finance. I was drinking from a fire hose the entire 4 days, and while some of what he shared went past me, one of the key takeaways I got from his workshop was his methodology for defining your unique selling proposition. I'll try to explain it here, although I find it better sharing it using a whiteboard or flip charts. Here's how he described it. USPs come in only one of 3 forms. They're either based on your brand, if you have a brand that's so powerful that the brand name itself defines your differentiation. He used the example that Coca-Cola is unique from Pepsi, and that a Coke tastes like a Coke no matter where you get it or in what form you get it, a bottle, a can, or a soda fountain. So the uniqueness of Coke is consistent around the world. Coke as a brand is their uniqueness. If you drink sodas, you either drink a Coke or a Pepsi, but not often either or both. The second form of a USP could be your product. but only if your product is so unique that your people buy your product because of the features and benefits of your product itself. While most companies don't have a one-of-a-kind product, he used the example of Apple computers. Apple is distinctly unique from other computers, and people who are Apple users rarely use other computer products because the products are uniquely Apple. The third form of USP is where most businesses live, and that's the experience someone has when they do business with you. When you don't have a powerful, unique brand and you don't have a one-of-a-kind product, you must define your unique selling proposition in terms of the experience that someone has when they do business with you. That's where my business lands, and that's likely where your business lands. You would probably agree with me on this, but here's the part that most of us miss. If our unique selling proposition is based on the experience someone has when they do business with us, then we must be able to define the true value they get based on the feelings someone has when they engage with us or our business. Now, I'm not sure about you, but when I first heard this, I was scratching my head a bit. I was thinking, is my USP really a feeling? But after hearing Keith explain why feelings were so powerful and impactful, I started to think deeply about it. In fact, he gave us all in the workshop an assignment. When we got back home, we had to ask 5 to 10 of our best customers this question: what feelings do you have when you do business with me? At first, it was a very awkward question to ask. Some customers looked at me as if I'd lost my mind. But when I pressed them for an answer, I did get some truly significant and meaningful insight into how I was making my customers feel when they did business with me. Keith's recommendation was that after we gathered the inputs from our customers, that we identify the top 3 feelings, the ones that were mentioned most often, and begin to build our business processes around those feelings. It was a powerful exercise, and it truly did change how we viewed our business and how we were interacting with our customers. Because we wanted every interaction to generate the 3 specific feelings, we designed our website, our phone answering scripts, our in-person greetings, and our follow-up conversations to make sure that no matter what, these feelings were the main focus of our actions and engagements. So let me ask you, what are the feelings that your customers have when they do business with you or your team? Is your business designed and structured in such a way that no matter how or when your customer engages with you or your team, they come away with the very same feelings every time? What would have to change for that to happen? If they did have those feelings every time they did business with you, would they do business with you more often, or tell more friends about your business, or write better Google reviews about your business? If you're not sure what those feelings are, perhaps you should take the time to ask your current customers and begin the journey to define your business based on the feelings you give your customers whenever they do business with you. Now, if this makes sense to you, then I'd suggest you use this approach to define your what truly sets you apart from your toughest competition. But if not, here's a second method that you may find works better for you. Take a few minutes to write down the 4 or 5 biggest problems or frustrations your ideal customer has today. Focus on the problems or frustration they have with using products in your industry or getting service from your competitors. Be specific and write them out as specific problems or frustrations. I don't want you to solve them yet. This isn't about you or your products or your services. This is about your customers and those prospects who might be your ideal customers. Too often we focus our attention on what we do and how we show up without first getting crystal clear on the problem or frustration that we need to solve in the marketplace. Once you have 4 or 5 unique, clearly defined problems or frustrations, I want you to write a single sentence that defines exactly what you, your product, or your service does to fix that specific problem. Don't be general. Don't be vague. If you fix it, how do you fix it? What's the exact approach you use to make that problem or frustration go away? Do this for each of the 4 or 5 problems or frustrations. Each statement should reflect how your business addresses that problem or frustration. It should be uniquely different from how others would address the problem. If you find that your fix is no different than your competitor's approach to the problem or frustration, then ask yourself, what could we do differently or better to set ourselves apart from everyone else? We may not be very unique in 1 or 2 problem areas, but when you bundle the 4 or 5 problems together and you have a solution to each and every one of them, now you have some real uniqueness. I went through this exercise recently with a client. They're in an industry that arguably has little differentiation. The products are pretty much similar, and the processes they follow are similar to their competitors' processes. But after about an hour of discussing and debating their customers' biggest problems and frustrations, then creating a single statement on how they solved those specific problems and frustrations, we came away from the meeting with a very powerful set of specific things that they did that were very different from any of their competitors. And as we looked at how they solved the big 5 problems or frustrations of their customers, we identified a way to brand our solutions to make them even more unique and differentiated. It became the basis for truly setting them apart from their toughest competition. So how about you? Do you have a clear definition of the top 4 or 5 problems or frustrations your customers have today? Have you crafted a single concise statement of how you solve their big 5 problems or frustrations? Are you communicating your solution on your website, in your presentations, and as part of your proposals or quotes? Perhaps this is an approach that will work for you and your business. Either way you choose to go, by following Keith Cunningham's unique selling proposition methodology or defining the specific problems and frustrations you solve for your customers, you can and should create a method, an approach, a discipline, or a commitment to create powerful feelings and solve your customers' biggest challenges. Do this, and your competition will be left wondering where all their customers went, and you'll be smiling as you greet them, deliver the feelings they love, and solve their biggest problems. As we wrap up today's podcast, let me leave you with these simple thoughts. Number 1, you must take the time to get clarity on how you're uniquely different and better than your toughest competition. Number 2, you can approach this in one of 2 ways. Either use the Keith Cunningham methodology or identify the specific problems that your customers have that you fix in a unique way. And number 3, once you've landed on your USP, be sure to align your entire business around that uniqueness. Your website messaging, your phone answering protocol, how you show up, everything. If you'd like some additional support as we ride this Tour to Profit race or want to tap into our free resources, simply go to my website, tourtoprofit.com. You'll find everything you need there. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to tune in next week when we're going to discuss Stage 15, Establishing Your Guarantee. You won't want to miss it. Now, go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.
Thank you for listening to Why Business Teams Fail and How to Avoid It. Make sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends so you don't ever miss an episode. Now go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.